Namaste everyone. On the joyous occasion of Maha Shivratri, I'd like to share with you a story from the Śiva Mahāpurāṇa. So this translation is by Shantilal Sagar, and I will read the Sanskrit and also the English translation, and hope you enjoy it. This is chapter 30 in the Koti Rudra Samhita, and the particular chapter is called Śiva Rātri Vratam Mahatmyam. Śiva Rātri Vratam Mahatmya Varnanam. The glory of the Maha Shivratri Vratam. Om Namah Shivaya. Chapter 40. The glory of Shivratri. Rishaya Uchuhu Suta Te Vachanam Shrutva Paranandam Vayam Gataha Vistarat Kathaya Pritya Tadeva Vratamuttamam. The Rishis said, O Suta, listening to your words we feel delighted. Now describe that same Vrata in detail. Kritam puracha keneha Suta etad vratamuttamam Kritvapi ajnanataschaiva Praptam kim phalamuttamam. O Suta, who performed this vrata first of all, which was caused by performing the same in ignorance? What was the reward received by him? So the Rishis are asking Suta, who is this person who has performed this vrata, although in ignorance, and what was the reward he received? Suta Uvacha Shruyatam Rishaya Sarve Kathayami Puratanam Itihasam Nishadasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. Suta said, O Rishis, please do listen. I shall narrate the ancient story of a hunter which destroys the sins. This listening to the story destroys sins. Pura kaschid vane bhillo namna hi asid gurudruhaha kutumbi balavan kruraha krura karma parayanaha. In ancient times, in a forest, a hunter known by the name of Gurudruha lived with a large family. He was quite powerful and ruthless and engaged in cruel ways. Now the word Guru Druha itself means someone who has animosity towards wisdom or Guru. Nirantaram vane gatva mrigan hanti sma nityashaha chauryam cha vividham tatra karoti sma vane vasan. Daily he went to the forest and killed deer, besides committing thefts in the forest in many ways. Balyad arabhyateneha kritam kinchit shubham nahi mahan kalo vyatiyaya vane tasya duratmanaha. In his childhood, he had never engaged in any of the auspicious activities. Thus, the hunter, who was very wicked, spent time in the forest following sinful ways. Kadachit Shivaratrischa Prapta Asi Tatra Shobhana Na Duratmasma Janati Mahat Vana Nivasakrit. Once the festival of Shivaratri arrived, this wild and wicked hunter was totally unaware of the significance and the importance of Shivaratri. Etasmin samaye bhillo matra pitra striya tatha prarthitascha shudha vishtair bhakshyam dehi vanechara. His hungry parents and wife said to him, O forest dweller, please do give us something to eat. Iti samprarthitah sopi Dhanuradaya Satvaram Jagama Mrigahimsartham Babrama Sakalam Vanam. Having heard these words spoken by his parents and wife, and immediately picking up his bow and arrow, he set out at once for killing deer and wandered all through the forest. Daiva yoga tadatena na praptam kinchideva hi astam praptah tada suryah savai dukkham upagatah. By divine chance, by him was not gained anything. He could find nothing for hunting on that particular day. And the sun having set, in the meantime, he was overcome by sadness. Kim kartavyam kva gantavyam na praptam me adya kinchana balascha ye grihe tesham kim pitroscha bhavishyati. And then he thought, what shall I do? Where should I go? I've got nothing today. And what shall happen to my children at home and to my parents as well? Madiyam vai kalatram cha tasya kinchit bhavishyati kinchit grihitva hi maya gantavyam na anyatha bhavet. And he thought, my wife too, she is pregnant. What shall happen to her when I return home? I need to go carrying something, otherwise I shall not return to my abode. Ittham vicharya savyadho jalashaya samipagaha jalavataranam yatta tatra gatva swayam stitaha. Thinking thus, the hunter went to a lake and seated himself over the bank of the lake with water. Avashyam atra kaschidvai jivaschaivagamishyati tam hatva sagriham pritya yasyami kritakaryakah. And he thought, surely some living creature will arrive here for taking water, and I shall be successful by killing the same and then return to my abode, having accomplished my purpose. Iti matva savai vriksham ekam bilveti sangyakam samaruhya stitastatra jalamadaya bhillakah. Thinking thus, the hunter climbed a bilva wood apple tree, taking some water with him, and he sat on its branch. Kada yasyati kaschidvai kada hanyamaham punaha iti buddhim samasthaya sitosau kshutrushanvitaha. The hungry and thirsty hunter kept on thinking as to when shall any living being arrive here to be killed by him. Tadratro prathame yame mrigitveka samagata trisharta chakita sacha protphalam kurvati tada. Then suddenly, in the first prahar of the night, a thirsty hind arrived springing and filled with surprise. Tam drishtva cha tadatena tadvadhartham athosharaha samhrishtena drutam banam dhanushi svehi sandadhe. On finding the arrival of the hind, the hunter was delighted, and he lifted up his bow and strung an arrow in order to kill her. Ityevam kurvatastasya jalam bilvadalani cha patitani hyadhastatra shivalingam abhut tataha. Soon after he did so, the leaves of the wood apple tree fell with water over the Shivalinga that happened to be lying down below on the ground. Yamasya pratamasyaiva puja jata shivasya cha tanmahimna hi tasyaiva patakam galitam tada. With this, the adoration of Shiva for the first prahar was completed, and thus all the sins of that sinner were washed away. Tatratyam chaiva tatchabdam shritva sa harini bhiya vyadam drishtva vyakulahi vachanam chedam abravit. On hearing the noise of the falling water, the hind was startled and she looked at the hunter and said to him the following words. Mrigyuvacha Kim kartum ichhasi vyadha satyam vada samagratah tachrutva harini vakyam vyado vachanam abravit. Vyadha uvacha Kutumbam kshuditam medhya hatva tvam tarpayamyaham darunam tadvacha shrutva drishtvatam durdharam khalam. The doe said, O hunter, what do you want to do? Speak you truthfully to me. Hearing the words of the doe, the hunter said, My family is hungry, and for that purpose I shall feed them by killing you. Listening to the harsh words of the hunter, the doe thought, Kim karomi kva gacchami hyupayam rachayamyaham ittham vicharya satatta vachanam chedam abravit. The doe thought, what should I do? Where should I go? What means should I come up with? Thinking thus, she said the following words to the hunter. Mrigyuvacha Manmamsena sukham te syah dehasya anarthakarinah adhikam kam mahatpunyam dhanyaham natra samshayah. The doe said, O malevolent one, in case my flesh could appease you, then I would feel grateful. Because in that case, I will earn some punya, great merit and virtue. There is no doubt about this. Upakara karasyaiva yat punyam jayate tviha tat punyam shakyate naiva vaktum varshashatairapi. A person who does good earns enormous merit in return. And that amount of merit, it cannot be described even in hundreds of years. Paramtu shishavo medhya vartante svashrame akhilaha bhaginyai tan samarpyaiva prayasye swamine tva. But I have young ones of mine in my abode, and they are alone. So let me go and entrust their care to my sister, and then I shall return to you here. Rame mithya vachastvam hi vijaniha vanechara ayasyeha punaschaham samipam te na samshayah. O forest dweller, don't take my words as false. I shall undoubtedly return to you. Sthita satyena dharani satyena cha varidhihi satyena jaladharascha satye sarvam pratishtitam. The earth remains stable because of truth. It is because through the instrument of truth that the oceans remain with power. The streams of water flow because of truth. All things are established in truth. Suta uvacha. Now Suta said, Ityuktopi taya vyadho namene tadvacho yada tada suvismita bhita vachanam sa abravit punaha. Suta said, when the hunter failed to agree to the words spoken by the doe, then, surprised and panic-stricken, she said again, Mrigyuvacha, Shrunu vyadha, Pravakshami shapatam ki karomyaham, agacheyam yatatena samipam sagrihad gata. The doe said, O hunter, listen, I will take a solemn oath. In case I do not return to you after visiting my abode, Brahmano Veda Vikreta Sandhyahinas Srikalakam Striya Swaswamino Hyagyam Samullanghya Kriyanvitaha. Then I should earn the sin of a Brahmana who fails to perform Sandhya thrice a day, or the sin earned by a Brahmana who sells the Vedas, or a woman who acts contrary to the command of her husband. Kritagne chaiva yat papam vimukhe hare drohinas chaiva yat papam dharma langane or the sin earned by an ungrateful person, or a sin earned by someone who moves against the Lord Hari, or the sin earned by becoming inimical to the Guru or the preceptor, or the sin earned by someone who does something contrary to Dharma. विश्वासघातके यच्च तथा वै छलकर्तरि तेन पापेन लिम्पामि यद्यहं नागमे पुनः. Or the sin earned by a person betraying one's faith. In case I do not return, I shall earn all these sins. इत्याद्यनेक शपथं मृगीकृत्वा स्थिता यदा तदा व्याधः स विश्वस्य गच्छेति गृहम् अब्रवीत्. In this way, taking several oaths, the doe kept standing there, and the hunter then, developing faith in her, allowed her to go home. Mrigi hrishta jalam pitva gata sva ashrama mandalam tavaccha prathamo yama tasya nidram vina gataha. The doe felt pleased and drinking water from the lake returned to her abode. By that time, the first prahar was over and the hunter had spent it without going to sleep. Tadiya bhagini yavai mrigicha paribhavita tasya margam vichinvanti hyajagama jalarthini. The sister of the doe, feeling anxious and searching for her sister, also arrived at the same spot for drinking water. Tam drishtva cha swayam billo akarshid banasya karshanam purvavat jalapatrani patitani shivopari. Spotting her, that Bhilla strung the bow, aiming an arrow at the doe. As soon as he did, so the water and the leaves of the wood apple tree fell over the Shivalinga below. Yamasya cha dvitiyasya tena shambhor mahatmanah puja jata prasangena yadhasya sukhadayini. With this, Lord Shiva's puja was achieved in the second prahar without much effort and quite pleasantly. Mrigi sa prahatam drishtva kim karoshi vanechara purvavat katitam tena tachrutvaha mrigi punaha. Looking at the hunter, the doe said, "O forest dweller, what are you doing?" The hunter replied as before, and the doe, on hearing him, said, "Dhanyaham bruyatam vyadha safalam dehadharanam anityena sharirena hyupakaro bhavishyati." The doe said, "Listen, O hunter, I am indeed blessed. In this case, this body has become successful in serving somebody. This transient body and my donning it for this life has become successful because it will be of use to somebody. Parantu mama balascha grihe tishtanti charbhakaha bhartraitamscha samarpyaiva yagamishyam yaham punaha. But my young ones are at home. I shall return after I have entrusted their care to my husband." Yada uvacha tvaya choktam namanyeham hannitvam natra samshayah tachrutva harini praha shapatam kurvati hari. The hunter said, "I do not believe in your words. I shall definitely kill you." O Vishnu, then the doe, taking an oath, said to the hunter, "Mrigyuvacha shrunu vyadha pravakshami nagacheyam punaryadi vacha vichalito yastu sukrutam tena haritam." The doe said, "O hunter, do listen to me, whatever I have to say to you. In case I do not return as assured by me, then I should earn the sin which a person earns who is not faithful to his word. Parinitam striyam hitva gacchatyanyam cha yakpuman Veda dharmam samullangya kalpitena cha yo vrajet." Or the sin a person earns by enjoying other women in preference to his own wife, or the sin earned by a person who follows another dharma, leaving the Vedic dharma. Vishnu bhakti samayuktah shivanindam karoti yah Pitro Shayahamasadhya Shunyam Chaiva Kramediha. Or the sin earned by a devotee of Vishnu who denounces Shiva, or a person who does not feed the Brahmanas on the day of the death of his parents. Kritvacha paritapam hi karoti vachanam punaha tena papena limpami nagacheyam punaryade. Or the one who after repenting commits the same sin, in case I do not return as promised, then all those sins will accrue to me. Suta uvacha ityuktascha tatha taya vyadho gachetyaha mrigim cha saha sa mrigi cha jalam pitva hrishtagachas swamashramam. Suta said, at the words of the door, the hunter permitted her to leave. She also, feeling delighted and drinking water at the pool, left the place for her abode. Tavad dvitiyo yamo vaitasya nidram vinagataha etasmin samaye tatra prapte yame tritiyake. By the time the second prahara also passed, in which he was without sleep and remained awake, and then started the third prahar. Gyatva vilambam chakitas tadanveshana tatparaha tadyame mrigam madra trijala margam gatam tataha. Finding a delay in the return of the hinds, the hunter started searching for them, when in the third prahar he found a buck moving towards the path leading to the pool of water. Pushtam mrigam cha tam drishtva hrishto vanacharas savai sharam dhanushi sandhaya hantum tam hi prachakrame. Finding it well built, strong buck, he placed the arrow over the bow and was about to kill it. Tadaivam kurvatastasya bilvapatrani kanichit tat prarabdha bashad Vishnu patitani shivopari. O Vishnu, while placing the arrow over the bow, some water fell along with the leaves of the wood apple tree accidentally over the Shivalinga below, as a matter of luck. Tena tritiya yamasya tadratrau tasya bhagyataha puja jata shivasyaiva kripalutvam pradarshitam. With this, the adoration of Shiva for the third prahar was performed by sheer chance, and Shiva displayed his compassion on the hunter. Shrutva tatra cha tam shabdam kim karoshi iti prahasaha kutumbartham aham hanmi tvam vyadhas cheti sobravit. Listening to the sound, the buck said, "What are you doing?" to the hunter. The hunter then said, "I am going to kill you in order to feed my family." Tat shrutva vyadavachanam harino hrishtavanasaha dhrutameva cha tam vyadham vachanam chedam abravit. Listening to the words of the hunter, the buck was pleased and spoke thus to the hunter. Harina uvacha dhanyoham pushtimanadhya bhavat triptir bhavishyati yasyangam nopakarartham tasya sarvam vridhagatam. The buck said, "I am indeed blessed. Besides being well built and well nourished, you will derive a great satisfaction by consuming me, and a person's body, if it's not used for the welfare of others, of what avail is it? Yo vai samarthya yuktascha nopakaram karoti vai tat samarthyam bhavet vyartham paratra narakam vrajet." One who, being competent, fails to do good to others, his ability is of no use, and he falls into the lowest hell. Parantu balakan swanscha samarpya jananim shishun ashvasya apyathan sarvan agamishyam yaham punaha. But I shall come back after entrusting the care of my young ones to their mother and then return to you again. Ityuktastena savyadho vismito ativa chetasi manak shuddhamana nashta papa punjo vacho brivit. At these words of the buck, the hunter felt really surprised. His mind felt somewhat purified and was freed from sins a little. Vyada uvacha. Ye ye samagatascha te te sarve tvaya yatha kathayitva gata yatra nayan tyadyapi bandhakaha. Then the hunter said, all those who have arrived here went back speaking just like you, never to return again. And they have not returned so far, those cheats. Tvam chapi sankate prapto vyalikam cha gamishyasi mama sanjeevanam chadya bhavishyati katham mriga. O Buck, you are also going to leave and you are also leaving me in this trouble. How shall I carry on my life and my livelihood? Mriga uvacha. Shrunu vyadha pravakshyami nanratam vidyate mayi satyena sarvam brahmandam tishthyatyeva characharam. The Buck said, O hunter, listen, that I am not telling you a lie. It is indeed on truth that the entire Brahmanda, the universe, both the moving and the unmoving, are established on truth and sustained by it. Yasyavani yalika hi tat punyam galitam kshanat tathapi shrunu vai satyam pratigyam mama bhillaka. One who tells a lie, all his merits are washed out in a moment. Still, O Bhilla, you listen to my firm resolve for speaking the truth. Sandhyayam maithune ghastre Śiva Rātriyam cha bhojane Kuta sakshye nyasahare sandhyahine dvije tatha. The sin earned by one who engages in coition at the time of the sandhya, or one who takes food on the Shivaratri, or one who gives false witness, or misappropriates the trust, or a Brahmana deprived of the sandhya. Shivahinam mukham yasya nopakarta kshamopi san parvani shrifalasyaiva trotani abhakshya bhakshane. Or a mouth of one who is devoid of the name of Shiva, or one who fails to do good in spite of his being competent to do so, or the plucking of the wood apple fruit on the day sacred to Shiva, or eating forbidden food. Asampujya Shivam bhasmarahita chan nabhukchayaha etesham patakam me syan nagacheyam punaryadi. Or to adore Shiva without applying bhasma to the body, or to eat food without adoring Shiva. All these sins shall be earned by me in case I do not return to you. Suta uvacha iti shrutva vachastasya gacha shighram samavraja sa vyadhenaiva muktastu jalam pitva gato mriga. Suta said, thus listening to the words of the Buck, the hunter said, you go and return rapidly. Thereafter the Buck left the place after drinking water. Te sarve militas tatra swashrame kritasu pranaha vrittantam chaiva tam sarvam shrutva samyak parasparam. All of them, the Buck and the hinds, met at their abode and exchanged each other the news of each of their experiences. Gantavyam nischayeneti satyapashena yantritaha ashvasya balakansatra gantum ukta utkantitastada. All of them were bound by the oaths that they had sworn and were true of their word. They decided to return to the hunter, and they assured the young ones and then got ready to return. Mrigi jyeshtha cha ya tatra swaminam vakyam abravit tvam vina balaka hyatra katham sthasyanti vaimriga. The elder hind said to her husband, how can the young ones survive here without you? Prathamam tu maya tatra pratigya cha krita prabho Tasman maya cha gantavyam bhavat bhayam siyatam iha. O Lord, I was the one who first gave the promise. Therefore, I should go first. The two of you may stay here. Bhavadbhyam sthiyatam iha. You too may stay here. Iti tad vachanam shrutva kanishta vakyam abravit aham tvat sevika chadhya gachami sthiyatam tvaya. On hearing this, the younger doe said, I happen to be your servant. I shall go instead, and you remain here. Tat shrutva cha mriga praha gamyate tatra vai maya bhavatyau tishtatam chatra matratha shishu rakshanam. On hearing this, the buck said, I will go, let both of you remain here, because the young ones are well looked after by the mothers. Tat swami vachanam shrutva menate tanna dharmataha prochuhu pritya swabhartaram vaidhavye jivitam cha dik. On hearing the words of the buck, they did not agree that this was dharmic and lovingly said, disgraceful is the life of a widow. Balan ashvasya tams tatra samarpya sahavasinaha gataste sarva evashu yatraste vyadasattamaha. Then, entrusting the care of the fawns to neighbors, all three of them went to the place of the hunter. Te balapi sarve vai vilokyanu samagataha etesham yagati syadvai hyasmakam sabhavat tviti. The fawns, though, too followed them, thinking that they would meet the same fate as would the one that would be met by their parents. Tan drishtva harshito vyadho Bhanam dhanush sandadhe punascha jalapatrani patitani shivopari. Finding their arrival, seeing them coming, the hunter felt pleased, and as soon as he saw them, he strung the bow, and the water and the leaves of the wood apple tree fell over the Shivaling. Tena jata chaturtasya pujayamasya vaishubha tasya papam tada sarvam bhasmasad abhavat kshanat. With that, the puja of the fourth prahar was completed, and the result of which all his sins were completely burnt up in an instant. Mrigi mrigi mrigaschochuhu shighram vai vyadasattama asmakam sarthakam deham kurutvam hi kripam kuru. Both the senior and the junior hinds and the buck said, O hunter, kindly make our bodies of use. Please do what you need to do. Iti tesham vachashrutva vyadho vismaya agataha Shiva puja prabhavena jnanam durlabham aptavam. Thus, listening to their words, the hunter felt very surprised because of the influence of the Shiva puja. He had been blessed with divine knowledge, which was so difficult to achieve. Yete dhanya mrigaschaiva jnanahinaha susammataha siyenaiva sharirena paropakarene rataha. The hunter thought, blessed are these deer, although devoid of wisdom seemingly, who are ready to do so much good to others with their bodies. Manushyam janma samprapya sadhitam kim mayaduna parakiyam cha sampidya shariram poshitam maya. Although I was born with a human body, what good have I done to date? Causing pain to others, I have just tried to maintain my body. Kutumbam poshitam nityam kritva papan yanekashah evam papani ha kritva kagatir me bhavishyati. And I maintain my family committing so many sins, several types of sins. Alas, what shall happen to me by committing sins in this way? Kamva gatim gamishyami patakam janmatah kritam idanim chintayam evam dik dik cha jivanam mama. What shall be the fate of a person like me who has been indulging in sinful ways since birth? Right now I think that there is only disgrace and 5 on my life. Iti jnanam samapanno banam samvarayam stada. Gamyatam cha mrigasreshtha dhanya sta iti chabravit. Thus achieving enlightenment, the hunter strung the bow and said to the deer, "O deer, please return to your home." Ityukte cha tadatena prasannaha Shankarastada pujitam cha swarupam hi darshayamasa samvatam. At these words of the hunter, Shiva, greatly pleased, accepted his worship and displayed before him his true form. Samsprishya kripaya shambhu stam vyadham pritito bravit varam bruhi prasannosmi vratenanena bhillaka. Then touching the hunter with his hands, Shiva said to him, "O Billa, you may ask for a boon. I am pleased with your brother." Vyadhopi shivarupam cha drishtva mukto abhavat kshanat papata shivapadagri sarvam praptamiti bruvan. The hunter, looking at that form of Shiva, was at once freed from all his sins, and falling at his feet, he said, "I have got everything." Shivopi suprasannatma namadatva guheti cha vilokya tam kritadrishtya tasmai divyan bharan adat. Then Shiva, feeling very pleased, gave this hunter the name of Guha, and casting his compassionate look on him, he granted him several divine boons. Shiva uvacha Sunu vyadhadya bhogan svam bhungshva divyan atepsitam rajadhanim samasritya shringavira pure para. Shiva said, "O hunter, listen to me. You, after having enjoyed all the desired pleasures, reside in the capital city of Shringavirpura. Anapaya vamshavriddhihi shlaghaniyaha surairapi grihe ramastava vyadha samayasyati nishchitam." Your imperishable race will expand. You will be praised by the gods even, O hunter. Sri Rama, in time, will arrive at your abode. Karishyati tvaya maitrim mad bhakta sahakarakaha mad seva sakta chetastvam muktim yasyasi durlabham. He will then make friends with you because he loves my devotees. Because of your devotion to me, you will achieve the type of salvation which is rarely achieved by others. Suta uvacha etasmin antare tetu kritva shankara darshanam sarvam pranamya sanmuktim mrigayonehi prapedire. Suta said, at the same time the deer, having an audience with Shiva, were relieved of their animal birth after bowing in reverence to the Lord. Vimanam cha samaruhya divya deha gatastada Shiva darshana matrena shapamukta divangataha. Achieving divine bodies, the deer, having been relieved of the curse, went to heaven, boarding a divine plane. Vyadheshwara Shivo Jataha Parvate Hi Arbudachale Darshanat Pujanat Sadhyo Bhukti Mukti Pradayakaha. Since that date, Shiva came to be known as Vyagreshwara over the Arbudachala mountain. By adoring and looking at him, one achieves the devotion and salvation at the same time. Vyadopi taddinad nunam bhogansa surasattama bhuktva ramakripam prapya shivasayujyas aptavan. O best of gods, the hunter, also enjoying all the worldly pleasures since that date, by the grace of Rama, achieved the Sayujya devotion of Shiva. Ajnanatsa vratanchai etat kritva sayujyam aptavan kim punar bhakti sampanna yanti tan mayatam shubham. He who performed the vrata unknowingly, even he achieved the Sayujya type of salvation. What to say of those who worship Shiva wholeheartedly? They attain complete identity with the Lord. Vicharya sarva shastrani dharmaschaiva yanekashaha Śiva Rātri Vratam idam sarvotkrushtam prakirtitam. After studying all the Shastras and other religious scriptures, the Śiva Rātri Vrata has been extolled as the best. Vratani vividhanyatra tirthani vividhani cha dhanani cha vichitrani makhascha vividhastatha. There are many kinds of vratas, and there are so many places of holy pilgrimage, and several types of charities, and yajnas also of many different varieties. Tapansi vividhanyeva japasyaivaapyanekashaha na etena samatam yanti Śiva Rātri Vratena cha. There are mentions of very different kinds of penances and many kinds of japas, but there is nothing that is even equal to the Śiva Rātri Vrata. Tasmat shubhataram cha etat kartavyam hitamipsubhihi Śiva Rātri Vratam divyam bhukti mukti pradam sada. Therefore, those who wish well for themselves should perform the Śiva Rātri Vrata, which bestows both worldly pleasures and salvation. Etat sarvam savakhyatam Śiva Rātri Vratam shubham vratarajeti vikyatam kim anyat shrotum ichhasi. All this has been narrated relating the greatness of the Śiva Rātri Vrata, which is known as the foremost of the sacred rites. What more would you like to listen from me? Iti Sri Śiva Mahāpurāṇe Chaturthyam Koti Rudra Samhitayam Vyādheshvara Mahatmye Śiva Rātri Vrata Mahatmya Varnanam Nama Chatvarimshot Adhyayah. Om Namah Shivaya.